So we're back with part 2. Actually, I never left. And I do appreciate you guys that came back after watching part 1. I still have the crummy voice and I might lose it here. So apologies again for that. But I just wanted to knock this one out too. And, you know, kind of helps me take my mind off of the fact that deer season is now 11 months away again. It's going to be a long wait. But we got lots of shooting to do between now and then. So thanks for coming back. Like I mentioned in part 1, I think the BMR here is going to be an ideal setup for a base class NRL22 rig. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One being that others doing testing of this rifle shown pretty darn good accuracy. Heck, it's a Bergara, right? Can't go wrong there. So, got that going for us. 2, it has a pretty tolerable MSRP. If you're familiar with NRL22 rules, the base class is defined by a certain combined MSRP of rifle and optic. Currently it's at $1,200. So with this rifle MSRP, I think it's $565 for the steel barrel 22, the carbon barreled one being a little bit more. Combine that with a reasonable optic, you got a pretty good base class rig. So you guys know I like my Athlons. I think a perfect pairing for this is the Gen 2 Argos. First focal plane, this one's 6 to 24 by 50. Plenty of elevation, perfectly good glass. You can have illuminated reticle on this one. Perfect for NRL22, right? Certainly there's other options. You could even bump the scope up a little bit. You got some wiggle room in your base class MSRP. But this one, about $450 if I remember correctly, which, you know, puts us just a little over $1,000 for combined rifle and scope. So you even have a little bit of wiggle room if you do want to spend some more on a different scope. But I like my Athlons. This is what we're going to put on here. So we got the Argos, and I have Athlon precision rings on here. I'm not going to show you guys how to mount a scope up. There's tons of other videos out there. We're just going to put this on here. I actually had it mounted up earlier just to make this process quicker. So we're going to set this on here, torque it down. I'll do the leveling and all that stuff later, but just wanted to get this on here. All right, we got us an optic. Now, these are the low rings, 30 mil low, and you can see they are pretty low. It clears the barrel, but not by much. I'll probably end up buying maybe mediums for this, move it up a little bit. It does clear, it doesn't touch, it's perfectly fine. But, you know, consider maybe just a touch higher. Next thing a person is going to want on one of these rigs is a bipod. The BMR comes with a sling swivel stud at the very front. Certainly you could add an ARCA rail on here if you wanted, you know, ARCA mount type bipods or other ARCA accessories. No problem doing that. You could mount a chunk of Picatinny rail on here if you wanted a pick rail mounted bipod. But I'm going to keep this simple. So I went out and got me a Black Friday deal on a Caldwell 6-9. This is the pivoting version. 6-9 works perfect for most NRL22 type situations. And this just will go right on our sling stud. So decent bipod. I've run these on a bunch of other rigs. Perfectly fine for this type of setup. I've never broke one. You know, I do like my Atlas too, but for a base class type situation, this is a good one. About 50 bucks or so on Black Friday sale. Brand new. There's probably some used Harris out there. you know, that kind of price range as well. Lots of options. Stay away from the eBay China, you know, Amazon $20 ones that look exactly like this. Don't do it. I've done it. It's not worth it. They all fall apart. So, all right, and that is as complicated as that gets. So, we now have us a rifle bipod combo. Neat little bipod. Go ahead and move our bag out of there. So, I do like these Caldwells. I like the Harris's. They're all good. I just happened to find a Black Friday deal on this one while I was shopping around, you know, thinking about setting this up. So that's a good combo. One thing that I'm getting a work call. Hang on. So we're back, and as you can tell, the audio doesn't match up with the video at all. I turned off the camera, turned it back on, and lost all my audio. So we're going to try our hand at doing a voiceover here and explain what I'm doing. As you can see, I'm waving around in the general direction vicinity of the bolt handle here, explaining that a guy's got big hands, and the little knob that comes on this BMR, it's kind of delicate. So what I've decided to do is replace it with the Little Bertha from Anarchy Outdoors. I have the big Bertha on my V14R competition rig and really like it. So thought I'd go with something similar, but the smaller version. And it is substantially larger than the factory bolt knob here, but it's not obnoxious. So again, you can probably figure out how to install a bolt knob on your own, but thought I'd show how I'm going to do it here. Obviously, first thing you gotta do is pull the bolt out of the gun, right? And the knob, from my experience, is generally Loctited on there pretty well from the factory. So you're gonna have to have some tools to help you out here. I obviously didn't have my act together. I had stuff strewn about all over the place. So a pair of channel locks really helps, and a couple of rags, because you're gonna try not to scratch this up too terribly bad. A little bit of blue Loctite's good to have on hand, because when you put it back on, you're not gonna want it to come off. So grab your rag, one around the body of the bolt, just so you don't cut your hand up too bad. There's some sharp edges on there. Double wrap or so, another rag around the knob itself. It's knurled, so that gives your pliers something to bite onto and give her a good twist. It's probably stuck on there pretty good. You're not going to break it, so give her a good twist. Get her off of there. As you unscrew it, you'll notice that they did put a lot of Loctite on it from the factory, so you can clean a little bit of that up if you want. Wipe it off, be good to go. Grab your blue Loctite, put a couple of drops on the threads there. This will keep it from backing out once you get the new one installed and you're jamming your big old mitts on there. You don't want it coming loose and dropping off somewhere. So just spin that bad boy on there, and then once again stick your rag on there, double it over a little bit so you don't scratch your nice new knob. Grab her with your pliers, give her a little bit of a twist, and set her down on there real good. So I really do like the little bit larger bolt knobs. I've got big hands, helps me grab a hold of them. Sometimes it's cold out wearing gloves, that helps. I really like the little finger radius cut into these Little Bertha knobs. So check it out, great little knob. Alright, one thing you'll probably notice once you get your optic mounted up here and you look through it is that because of this more traditional styled comb on your stock here, your eye doesn't quite line up here. At least mine doesn't with this scope. If you had a smaller objective and set down a little bit, it might be a little better, but for this rig I need the cheek up a little bit, and since we don't have an adjustable cheek piece on here, we're gonna fix that. I went on the old internet and typed in kydex cheek riser, and this was one of the first ones that came up. There's actually about a zillion different companies out there making these kydex rests like this. They're mostly the same. I chose this one because it came up top of the list, and it's made in America over here in Medina, Ohio. I don't know where that is, but it's in America, so I like that. I got the thicker version of it. There's kydex comes in all different, thicknesses. This is the 1/8 inch, which is kind of thick stuff. Figured why not. So get your cheek riser here and some hardware, a couple of screws, some thumb nuts, and some little rubber washers, and some instructions. Probably ought to read these, but we're just gonna wing it. So the idea here is we want to add something to bring our cheek up here a little bit, right? You could do all kinds of different things, even just as simple as putting some foam on here and taping it up, old mouse pad, whatever. That's fine. I want to make this a little bit more professional looking, so we're going to go this route. Now, this does require that I'm going to have to drill some holes in this stock. I'm fine with that. You may not be. That's okay. There are versions of this that have Velcro straps on it, so it will just strap underneath and you put something underneath it to keep it up. There's soft, like stock pads or other cheek pads that just Velcro on. You don't have to drill. That's fine. I'm not afraid of putting some holes in this, so that's what we're going to do. These are also pretty stiff, so if you get this and it's pinched in really tight and you're fighting trying to get on here, get your hair dryer out and just heat this up a little bit. You can stretch it out. It'll fit just fine. So that's what I did. I've already messed around with this a little bit and know that I want to have about a 1/2 inch or so on the back here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I know it's going to have to come up about 1/2 inch. There's lots of travel built into here, but I do want to have the adjustability a little bit. So when I drill my holes, I kind of want them in the middle of the travel range, or when I install them a little bit toward the top of the hole, so that when it comes up, I have room to move it. A couple of ways you can do this. You can just zing some holes in there and hope you hit the right spot. I'm going to try to do this a little better. This is what I found out. Get you some painter's tape, Sharpie, ruler. So we're going to take this off of here, and we're going to take our painter's tape, some nice long strips of it, toss it over here, looks about right, and we're going to drop our cheek piece on there. We can see our tape through there. And with it all the way down, because it's not going to go any lower than this, right? So just slap it all the way down the bottom, hold it kind of tight, and make your marks in there. Do it on both sides. And then, when we get ready to drill, we can pull this off, and I am going to use my ruler, and I'm going to measure down about 1/2 inch from the very top of the travel. That gets me down from the top of the stock a little bit further and gives me lots of up adjustments. So I'm going to measure down 1/2 inch. Make a mark right in the middle of there. Flip it over. Do this side as well. 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. And then we get our drill out. These are 1/4 inch bolts, so I'm going to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room. Went with a 17/64 drill bit. If that's a 64th over. And we're just gonna wing it here. So get right in the middle there. We're not gonna drill all the way through. We're gonna do just one side at a time here. So go kind of easy. We're through there. There, flip it over. I must have lined up pretty well because I went straight through there. Alright, so made a mess of little plastic shavings. Get rid of those. Tip it up. Take your painter's tape. Get that off of there. And now, slide our cheek piece over. Bolt. The way this one's set up, you got a couple little plastic or rubber grommets here. We're going to put one on this side. I'm a right-hander, so I want the flush one on the left side of the stock here. And we're going to put that through. Look at that, actually came through. Rubber on this side. A little thumb wheel. Same for the back. If a guy could see here. Oh, there we go. Push it through. Put our thumb wheel on. Actually, I'm going to have to raise this up a little bit because it's pinching there. So one thing you can remember is that this kydex is moldable if you heat it up. So I'm going to have to get my heat gun out and give this a little bit of shot of heat to make that mold exactly where I want to. If I take the little rubber washer off, it fits just perfect there. So I'll heat this up and squeeze that into where I want to. But if you loosen those up, and I'm going to have to use something underneath there, gentle, since it's pinched. I can raise my comb up to where I need it to be. Tighten it down. And now I just have to, oh, that's actually perfect height there. So what I'm going to do next, and I'll do this off video because you guys know how to run a hairdryer, is I'm going to add a little bit of heat here until I can squeeze it down so it fits just a little better. These are universal pieces, so you can mold it a little bit to fit whatever your rifle stock is. But that's as simple as that gets. So, how quick and easy was that? Can't wait to get this guy out to the range. Gonna run it through kind of a typical NRL22 course of fire. I'll record that and let you guys know my thoughts on that. That'll be part 3, and as soon as I can get to the range, I'll get that done. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Toss them down in the comments or reach out or whatever. If you're local around, want to try this gun out, it's here. Just let me know. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Get out shooting. Get some kids out. Good times. Stay safe.